Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel and to the show called Get Graham Potter Sacked Right Now. Like that, I've defended a lot of things. I've tried to find excuses, tried to be ever the optimist as I try to be in life, but certain limits have been reached. Like, no. 19 seconds after halftime we concede. 19 seconds. Really? And you start Ziyech, the guy that was supposed to be in Paris. What does that say about not just Potter, but our entire recruitment team? What does that say about them? The entire recruitment plan looks like an utter joke. The whole thing is a joke. The whole thing is a joke. The players are a joke. What is Enzo doing? Clearing the ball away from Kepa's feet. What is Joao Felix doing? Welcome to the Premier League. It's not La Liga where you touch each other and then you get 7 yellow cards at once. Do something. None of them. Mount is so shit, and yet he's the only guy that came on and actually showed some fight. All the others were pussios lying on the floor doing fuck all for the whole game. It's Tottenham. It's fucking Tottenham. The only player that played reasonably well is fucking Wesley Fofana, who's played his first 70 minutes since fucking October. What the fuck? How is that a thing? How is that a thing? And then you wait so long with your stupid fucking substitutions that by the time you bring him on, we're 2-0 down. What is that? What are you doing, man? Like, nah, I don't even know. Pice, you weren't here last week, so we'll start with you. I will just let you go. Not let you go, but just let you speak. I'm not usually this angry and aggressive, but I was just sat there, and obviously we conceded the goal. I was just like, do something. Why is no one doing anything? The manager isn't doing anything. The players aren't doing anything. No one is doing anything. Fucking Todd Bowley sat there with his fancy ass bloody Chelsea jacket. It doesn't even look like he's washed his hair in about 7 years. Fucking do something. Should have already prepared the club statement while you were at the game, man. My God, Pice, sorry, I'll just talk myself into even more rage. Please speak.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I think I had my rant last week. I'm fucking fuming inside, but I just don't know if I've got it in me anymore. People have been calling me fucking toxic all week, posting their Potter fan cams. And look, I'm all for supporting the manager. You do you, but at the end of the day, I don't understand how you can fucking support this manager. He's the most clueless manager in our history. How can you possibly a worse tactical manager than Frank fucking Lampard? He is worse. He's so shit. All today, fine, come out saying, I don't want to change myself. I can't change myself. Me being me. Maybe you being you is fine, but it ain't fucking good enough if you're going to be the manager of Chelsea Football Club. It can't run. Again,
he be him, but just sack him then. He could be him somewhere else.
On the touchline. Look at him all game. When we conceded the second goal, stands there, fucking arms crossed, speaking to his assistant who does fuck all. Like what? Like you said, it's Tottenham. It's fucking Tottenham. The one game the fans care about. And you know what's even worse? The fact that the fans didn't turn, or the fact that the fans didn't sing at all today. They've just fucking given up. They don't care anymore. They accept this now. They accept this. Fucking ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. He needs to get the fuck out of our club. He is useless. I don't give a fuck. The idea was much better than the execution. Bowley and Egbali, they're enemies of progress if they accept this. This bullshit, I don't even know where to be. There's no one's fucking told him a response this quick. I like Ben, but what the fuck? If he doesn't go after this, the Bowley and Egbali, they care as much about our club as Graham Potter does, and that's fuck all. They're useless. Fuck off. All of them. Fuck off. Out.
Yeah. I mean, we won't get rid of two of those for a hot minute. I'm not sure if I can't bring myself to be angry at everyone right now. So let me be angry at Potter for the moment and the team. If I have to be angry at the owners as well, then I have to be angry at too many people at the same time. Well, when I see what Ben Jacobs says here now, no problem with Ben Jacobs. Seems a bit quick to make that decision. Which source would know that now? What, 10, 15 minutes after the final whistle? Which source would know that? Seems a bit like, that's what I knew 2 days ago, so I'm just going to tweet it now. That's what it seems like. But I don't know. I will get to VJ in a minute. I'll get to you next, though, Jester. You were here last week. I was here last week, and what am I even doing with flipping player ratings? I feel the same again. We will probably get there in the end, because what can we talk about for an hour and a half for just the manager? We will run out after half an hour. But what can you say that you didn't already say last week?
Well, I coined a new phrase this week. Potter is as inspiring as ketamine. So the dude, these players don't want to play for him. He inspires no confidence. He inspires no drive, no desire. It's like a wet blanket. You know, you use a wet blanket to put out fires. You don't use them to start. This guy is just not it. And you know, everybody got this wrong, because every team, if you asked at the beginning of the season, if you fire your manager, who do you want? Oh, Graham Potter. We want Graham Potter to come in, to a man. So one would have to sit there and go, well, if everybody wanted Graham Potter in, apparently most clubs had him highly rated as the next up-and-coming manager. What does that say? This guy reminds me of one manager in the world right now, and that's Gareth Southgate.
He does, genuinely, yeah. You're right.
This guy is just a chip off the old block. He's Gareth Southgate. He's got to go. I said out after we lost to Dortmund, he has got to go. The players will not play for this guy because he inspires nothing. You have to inspire men to want, to want to run through fire. That's the whole purpose of boot camp, is you break somebody down and then you build them up into men. Well, this guy, you can't inspire somebody when you're sitting there going, well, that's life. Or, when you start to get hated on, then you want to bring up emails that you got that were unsavory. You know what? Every celebrity in the world has gotten bad emails or bad social media because people like to hate people that are more famous than them. People don't punch down; they punch up.
That doesn't make it right, though. Like, I know.
No. I'm not saying it's okay, but you're gonna come out with that excuse so people feel sorry for you? No. You're in the public eye. You're with a big club now. Get used to it. Okay? If you don't like it, quit.
Tactic. Just a bit more of a poor man's Jose one, where you're like, let's talk about something other than how bad the team is.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising that this comes out it comes out right when he needs protection. Oh, you're saying you were just now getting this hate mail? For the previous 15 games you were in charge where you looked like crap, you weren't getting them. Now you're getting them when it's your job is teetering toward the edge. Enough of that. Get him gone, and then his family won't have to deal with the hate. Get him gone. There you go.
He needs to get gone. He needs to get gone. I won't. To me, there's absolutely nothing to do with that. Where it's just like, I don't even care. Like, I know in terms of the joke, I get it. In terms of he's not going to inspire anyone by saying that's life. I don't think that's the be all and end all of it. Fact of the matter is, we play okay, have a good start, decent start to the game until Thiago Silva gets injured. If Joao Felix calculates the over-the-top ball from Enzo better, we should be 1-0 up, quite frankly. If we're a bit lucky, maybe we even get a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty, but, there was a little bit of contact with Sterling. And then everything can be different. But as soon as Thiago Silva's off, it was like Southampton's first half again. And then because we conceded 19 seconds into the second half, we couldn't even improve for the second half, and we were done for it again there as well. Like, it's just... And then he does nothing. We concede 19 seconds. Why did you not even make a sub at halftime in the first place? Hakim Ziyech is a very, very lucky man not to have been sent off. Now, would it have changed anything? We'd probably lose 2-0 regardless. But in my opinion, he's a lucky man, especially for it to be overturned. Now, do I think the yellow card is probably fair? Yes. But once a red card has come out, for them to overturn it, even though he touched the guy's face, as much as it was a push, not a hit or a slap, still lucky, right? And then you leave the guy on the pitch. And then it takes you, I don't know when the first sub happened, right? Like, it was, still took too long. And then it's Mount. But I will say that, like I said earlier, Mount was awful. And when he looked slower than flipping Jorginho against Romero, I lost my shit. But he at least tried to do some shouting and some, getting back into the Spurs player spaces. Everybody else was just, head down like a little pussy. Honestly, it was genuinely disgraceful. VJ, I will finally get to you. Thank you for coming back on. It's been a hot minute. Judging from what a few tweets of yours that I've seen over the last few weeks, you weren't a big fan of Potter even at the best of times. So what do you think now? So sorry if I misremembered what I thought I heard you tweet. I saw you tweet.
No, I think you were absolutely spot on. I did not like the way that Thomas Tuchel was sacked after having him, after having got his players that he wanted. From there, how we just sacked the manager with no purpose, and then we brought in Graham Potter. People presume that he is a project manager of some sorts, but come on, a project manager needs to have a lot of qualities that he is currently missing. I have tweeted this out. I've spoken about this as well. Being a project manager, you need to have definite milestones that you need to be achieving. You've been given that license to spend. What do you do with that? There's no pattern of play. Man's been sitting on the pitch till 45 minutes when Hakim Ziyech got sent off. The last time that I can recollect a red card decision or anything of that sort, Thomas Tuchel versus Antonio Conte. What happened the last time Chelsea versus Tottenham game? That's a manager with a character. That's someone who comes in who fights for it. It looks like Graham Potter should be managing an English cricket side.
Well, to be honest, I think it would have been fair to send Ziyech off. So I'm not really sure what basis Potter would have had to lose his shit about it. But you still don't sit on the bench and do nothing about it. You come out and you show some character. This looks like someone who's managing a cricket team. If I'm being very honest, like the gentleman's game, you cannot actually come onto the pitch. You cannot do anything basically if you're an English coach, not an English coach, basically a coach in a cricket team. That's how it was. That's how exactly it was. And this is not cricket. This is football. There's a lot of emotions. This is
fucking
different.
God, this guy's quotes, man. I'm literally gonna get bro, I'm gonna get suspended if I tweet. I bet stay on this fucking stream. Honestly, I'm fucking. My God,
who's posting the quotes though, so I can get them up on screen?
No, it's Potter. It's Potter's quotes.
No, I know, but who is
CFC
tweeting
Daily,
them so I can bring them up?
CFC Daily.
Okay.
Fucking hell, man.
Aye. But yeah, Price better stay here so you don't say any bad things. But go on, BJ, sorry.
I couldn't see what he was trying to do, and I've not been able to see this pattern of play, so-called pattern of play in the game at all. The wing backs have not been that great. Chilwell not so great today as well. He has a lot of resources at his disposal, but I really doubt if he has the capability to get them all going together. There needs to be some sort of an improvement for you to kind of trust the process. I don't see any of that now. For me, Graham Potter has to go, and he needs to go as soon as possible. The only reason he probably hasn't lost the players in the dressing room is because he's too soft about it. Any other manager at this point in time, they would have been rough about it. They would have talked. They would have asked them to come to the training pitch, train harder, some sort of a reaction which would have caused a rift in the dressing room. But our guy has basically given them 3 days off in this week. So, that works out well in the favor.
There you go. We didn't start the second half well. Well, do you think so? Do you think so? Are you sure, Graham? Are you sure we didn't give everything? That's the next fucking thing I'm going to get at. Like, I've been very, in terms of, compared to others, I've been like, well, let's not make the biggest deal about every word he says. But even I've eventually lost my shit at him saying the players gave everything. Excuse me.
He said it again. He said players gave everything again. Is he fucking dumb?
Literally.
Honestly, oh my God. Oh, mate. I'm having a mental fucking breakdown.
He takes full responsibility. Well, great. I'd rather you do something about it and take responsibility after. The players gave everything. Sorry. If this is giving everything, what has this football club done in the past? Because were we just on steroids constantly? Because certainly wasn't, giving back in the day, this wouldn't have stood at everything. My God, man, I'm losing my mind here, and I'm on the one hand, people were talking about the next 3 games, Spurs, Leeds, and then Dortmund. On the other hand, people were talking about the next 3 games, Spurs, Leeds, and then Dortmund. 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 3 games, Sp But to me, I'm at a point now where after the last game and this game, sometimes there's the saying of progress is 2 steps forwards, 1 step backwards. That's how progress works. Well, you can be nice about it and say that's what Southampton was. Well, but then this one should have still been better, because otherwise this is not progress, this is regression. And not that plenty of people hadn't even said that before, but even if you look at West Ham, Dortmund, then Southampton, and then now. What is this? Remember 2012? At some point, you just have to cut ties. If you want a chance to do anything in the Champions League, and by that, I'm not talking about winning it. Let's not be silly here. We are lucky if we finish in the top half of the table. But beat Dortmund, which we are still capable of, well, then you need to do something. You can't wait until after Dortmund, because after Dortmund, there's no point anymore. After Dortmund, it's done. After Dortmund, there is nothing left. So there's no point second a manager after. How can a new manager galvanize a new group when there's nothing left to play for the next 2 months by that point? So either you do it now or you don't do it at all. So you better fucking do it now. I mean, Jester, do you feel at all that they're going to sack him, or do you still think they're not going to?
Well, I think that they'll sit down and they'll have more conversations about it. Do I think they'll sack him this week? Probably not. I think that it's going to take a little bit longer than a week to get who you want to replace him in. So they might start stepping up, going to the next step of.
Depends on who. There's a few jobless managers. Those should be done quick.
Well, I don't think they're going for a jobless manager.
No, probably not. They're probably going to get fucking De Zerbi from Brighton.
No, I think we're going to get Hansi Flick.
Oh, yeah, I know you think that. I still disagree with that, but it doesn't even matter.
Fucking Laurenz in charge.
Before we haven't sacked him.
Jesters in charge. Get Jesters in charge, bro. Get Laurenz in charge. Get fucking anyone in charge.
Yeah.
How fucking else could you stick with this?
I can tell you one thing. If I was in charge, those players would have either broken a leg today playing hard enough, or they would have been on the bench or not even in the squad. Because the first thing you have to do is install some toughness and some character and some belief in each other that you can play as a team, as a family. You don't see that. You see a bunch of individual players out on the pitch just going through the motions. So it's not like they're playing bad. They're just not bothered to be good. You're looking for moments from Enzo Fernandez and Joao Felix and whoever else. And I just brought up those 2 players because Sterling today looked like he might have something. But other than that, people were just out there, kick the ball a little bit. Yeah, but this is because the manager allows that. You think Jose Mourinho would have looked at that first half and go, I'm not going to make any substitutions? No, we're going to come out and play worse because I had more time with my team to talk tactics and to motivate them. And you come out and you give up the goal in the first 15 seconds of I wasn't even back from the shower. I went and took a shower at halftime, came out, we were down 1-0. I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is what I want in the morning. It's, he outed himself with his first statement. We had a bad start to the second half. Yes. We played worse after they spent more time with you. That can't happen.
Yeah, no. What can I add, bro? What can I add? Let me open some, show up 2 super screens. Super chats, my apologies. Can't even talk anymore. That's how annoyed I am. Before I let Pi speak again, and then we'll talk about the lineup. GB Liggedy. All right. I watched this game knowing we would lose. What a terrible feeling. And watching Brighton still being okay without him is telling. We clearly got fleeced. Mate, we got so badly fleeced. How much did we spend in total for this whole thing? For all the pieces of staff that we got from Brighton. Now, I'm not saying they're all bad. Don't know if they're all bad. I mean, Cal McCauley thinks Fofana is better than Aubameyang, which I find a bit... I'm not a fan of Aubameyang. But how can a 20-year-old that played in the Norwegian league be better than Aubameyang? I don't understand that one. Other than running, what other metrics can he possibly be better at? I guess maybe in the air, because Aubameyang, ever since he broke his jaw, is awful in the air. But still... there's more other metrics that exist, man. What is this? But I appreciate the donation. And honestly, I didn't know we were going to lose just because, like I keep saying, I am ever the optimist and I talk myself into, no, something's going to be better. But even I was like, when that goal went in, 19 seconds after halftime, I was like, there's no chance we turn this around. No chance. Blue Lounge with another super chat. We had another super chat which didn't have a message earlier. I showed it on screen. Sorry, I forgot your name, but I appreciate it, of course. The Blue Lounge has no joke. If we don't sack Potter, relegation vibes. I mean, vibes for sure. Not quite. We're probably not getting relegated, but my God, at this point, who knows? At this point, genuinely, who knows? Pies, I'll take it to you, and I'll start with the question: do you feel like they're sacking him? They're going to sack him this week, or are you
they're
still
fucking clueless. They don't have any clue what they're doing. They're fucking idiots. They're not going to sack him. They didn't sack him after Southampton. They won't sack him after Spurs. You'll see another picture in a few days of Bowley at the training ground and them smiling. And everyone will be, oh, he's not sacked. Let's get behind the team and fucking all this will be next week. And yeah, Potter fan comes, I got one more in me. Come on, Potter. Fucking useless.
Good point of muting there, to be fair. VJ, do you think they're going to sack him?
Yeah, they should. They would. I think the sack is coming this week. I'll be honest, because I'm just alluding to this point, given the history of how they sacked Thomas Tuchel. Though it's not the same scenario here, he clearly was not their appointment, so it was very easy and convenient for them to sack him. But then we didn't hear about it until the previous day. It was so sudden. They could do that. They know how to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that after this game. We're not going anywhere. 10 points off the relegation. We're closer to relegation than the top four. Top four is 14 points clear. This is 10 points.
Yeah, brilliant. Amazing. Isn't that great to hear? Let's bring up, and I'm not even talking about the lineup screen yet where we give out ratings, but the lineup that Chelsea released. What did we think of that? Because I was already confused when I saw that. Now, Koulibaly weren't bad in the end. I don't think Koulibaly was the issue. If anything, I want to give a shout out to Koulibaly because when we conceded that goal by Oliver Skipp, and that was one rifle off a shot, he actually tried to put his head in there, and not a lot of players would do that. So fair play to him. But why would you start Koulibaly all of a sudden after Badiashile? I know he wasn't inch perfect against Southampton, but otherwise he was. So why would you drop him for Spurs? Don't really understand. Again, Koulibaly played okay, so that wasn't really the decisive factor here. Enzo Fernandez again next to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Now, people know I love Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but how is this a thing? Kovacic is all of a sudden ill again. I mean, what has he got? Injury-itis. Like, can he ever be fit? Like, ever? What is it with you? Like, I mean, the guy's fleecing us more than Potter. The guy's been banking wage after wage after wage when he's done nothing but be injured or ill. Same as Kante, man. It's pissing me right off. And we're giving Kante a new contract. But Jorginho, we ship off to Arsenal where he's helping them win the fucking league. Great job, Chelsea. Brilliant. Fucking amazing. And then Ziyech. I spoke about that already before. Ziyech. Why Ziyech? Like, again, I've got, in terms of quality and ability, in terms of what we've seen until today, do I mind so much if it's Ziyech or Madueke? No. I haven't been so impressed with Mudryk that I'm so gutted if it's Ziyech. But like I said earlier, in terms of the look it gives our recruitment team, the fact that we were willing to let Ziyech go, well, on loan, to PSG, but then we keep picking him, doesn't exactly, speak well about, number one, the players we signed, and number two, the whole plan of squad building, is it? Like, how can this keep happening? Again, Kovacic ill, so not even on the bench. Carney Chukwuemeka we spent 15 or 20 odd million on last summer, not even on the bench. We don't even have a left back on the bench. So you're not putting Cucurella there for God knows what reasons. You're not even putting Lewis Hall there, so you have at least some other left back. Are you aware that Ben Chilwell had torn his ACL, then played a few times, and then had another serious injury which kept him out for 4 odd months, and you don't even put a left back on the bench? What? This is mental. And then out of nowhere, after 5 weeks of leaving him out completely, after Fofana started last week, this week, David Dutch Fofana isn't even on the bench and Aubameyang all of a sudden is. So if you're willing to put Aubameyang on the bench, why the fuck haven't you used him in the last few weeks? Why the fuck isn't he in the Champions League squad where David Dutch Fofana can't even be used? Everything we're doing, it's just mind-boggling. And I know Mudryk has been fairly poor in the last few weeks, but you left him out last week for rest. And then a week later, you start Ziyech. For what reason? I can tell you for what reason. Because we do this weird thing within, and I talked a few times as well, we're out of possession, we play a back five, turn Reece James into a right centre-back, and make Ziyech play right wing-back, who can't defend. We know that. What are you doing? Why do you keep doing this? And then we wonder why we have no attack. Well, because every time Spurs have the ball, we run back and have 5 defenders again. It's the same problem as under Tuchel. Then you can't attack because you don't have any men forward. Do you people not see? Whenever we won the ball anywhere around our box, we win the ball, we try to attack, and there's about 2 players ahead of the ball to pass it to. Everything else is sideways. How can you attack when you have 2 players, and that's Joao Felix and Havertz, and sometimes Sterling? No, Sterling, okay, let's say 3 then. 3 players ahead of the ball compared to 10 Tottenham players. How is it supposed to work? I do not understand, man. Just do not understand. Pice, what did you think when the team came out? It's the same point of confusion as me, or were you like, well, it doesn't really matter if it's Koulibaly or Badiashile? Again, in the end, Koulibaly wasn't the problem, but it's just a weird selection. And again, with Ziyech, and why do we, like, if you're going to play this off-the-ball back three, just play a proper back three then. At least let Reece James be the right wing-back then, who's a proper right wing-back, who can get forward and be useful as that. Because Ziyech can't defend and can't attack. So he's a complete waste of a player. Like, every time he touched the ball in the first half, he lost it. And then he nearly got himself sent off by just being a moron. Like, what is the point?
It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Koulibaly, like, fair enough, he had a good game against Dortmund. And by the way, when Potter was asked about this, he said this team is closer to Dortmund. Like, why are you thinking about Dortmund? Like, Spurs are a completely different fucking team to Dortmund. I don't understand. Why are you reviewing Spurs as Dortmund? They're polar opposite teams and identities and style of plays. It makes absolutely no sense. Ziyech, for what? I don't understand. You've got Mudryk, who clearly fucking cares about the club. Okay, maybe not. Maybe he's not been the greatest, but he's fucking miles better than Ziyech. Ziyech is as slow as my nan. Loftus-Cheek in midfield. Nothing against him, but you've got Zakaria back now. Play Zakaria. You've been moaning for the last fucking 5 weeks that Zakaria's been injured.
Last week we lost 1-0 to Southampton and made 2 subs instead of giving Zakaria some minutes.
Badiashile. What? Badiashile, Fofana. Why are they benched? One of them should be playing. I don't know. Oh, it's just like, oh my God. Havertz, you play him, because the whole reason of Havertz is because he presses. I said this last week. Where is our press? These players do not give a fuck about him. And I cannot wait for the truth to come out. Whenever he goes, someone please, some journalist, please stop being fucking paid and just please come out and say the truth. Because I know the truth. You can see it. It's right in front of your eyes. These players do not give a fuck about playing for this manager because you can see it. I've seen it time and time and time again under other managers. It's the same thing. Don't sit here and tell me these players like this manager, because they don't, because you can see it in our performances. It's right in front of your eyes. I just don't understand how people are falling for this PR bullshit. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're playing like we're a team in a kids' park. We just pass it around, pass it left, pass it right. What? You come out of the second half worse than you were in the first half. Like, it's literally, what is he saying to them at half time? What do they do? Please put a camera in there. I don't understand, man. Like, your first 2 subs.
Nothing more interesting than what is the documentary always called?
Your first sub is fucking Mason Mount over Mudryk or Madueke or Aubameyang. Oh my God. I'm literally convinced he's purposely trying to sabotage our club now. I'm literally convinced. I'm fucking convinced.
Yeah. That's the one. Where was it? All or nothing is what I meant. Let me read out the super chat before I ask VJ about the team, and then we'll talk about performances as well, because what else can we talk about? My God. Said this weeks ago, Graham Potter was never capable, and Todd Bowley and co have been clueless from the start. Might as well flush 600 million down the drain. Well, like Jester said earlier, that's the kind of the weird thing and the problem, that when we appointed Potter, no one thought this was a bad appointment. You know, every club was kind of in agreement, really. And every expert was in agreement, really, that Potter is a very good manager, has done very good things everywhere he's been. Now, I don't know if we genuinely don't sack him, if we will ever see that at Chelsea or not. Right now, I cannot see it. Obviously, I can be wrong. I don't know. I hope we sack him because I don't really want to wait to find out anymore. But maybe we will have to, because if the owners don't do nothing, well, then they won't flip and do nothing, will they? Yeah, but I appreciate the donation, SKM. I appreciate it. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get involved with donations and make sure we talk about certain something or whatever, or just want to get something off your chest to make sure I do see and actually manage to highlight and talk about it on stream, use the super chat function and subscribe if you haven't already. We have nearly 1,000 people watching, which I massively appreciate. So please hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. And hit the like button as well, because cheer me up a little bit. Come on, like a little bit, at least a little bit. BJ, when you saw the team, similar reactions to Pies and myself?
I mean, to be honest, I did not expect anything out of this team because I know there was no pattern of play. I don't know. I couldn't trust the manager. So anything that this guy puts out as 11, I don't really care anymore. Like after the Southampton game, I'm fine with whatever he puts on because they're not going to anyways win. I can't expect them to win against Tottenham if they're not able to pick up 3 points or even a single point with Southampton in their home. Can I? Right? And when I see here, there's no Badia Shield and he's not playing anyways the UCL the coming week. Why not? He's played good for you.
We've only got Champions League in 10 days. Like we got no midweek game now, then Leeds, then Dortmund.
Yeah, and he's still not going to play in the UCL anyway, so he's not in the.
No, in the UCL, but we've got another league game before that. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, got it. So, I mean, a lot of confusions have was like how you mentioned. Maybe Datro Fofana was a good option. We kind of joke about this, right? Datro Fofana, 20 minutes. He's done more for Chelsea than Havertz's 2 years or 3 years with the club. When he started off, that's the kind of striker you have. Maybe he's not completely accomplished, but he's any day better than Kai Havertz because he didn't do anything today as well. Hakim Ziyech, I don't know why he's still in the squad. Like when you get someone like Mudryk for 110 million, you'd want him to be utilized. Right? Not in the last 10 minutes, or the last 15 minutes. You'd want him to be utilized for the entire 90 games. And if it is if it's a London rival, then you'd want your best players on the pitch. And the one player that you trust when it comes to these derbies, Aubameyang. I know he's not at the best of the form and all that, but if you decide to bring him into the squad, feel free to use him when you don't have a proper striker. If there's one player who can get you a goal in some clutch moment or the other in a derby game, that's going to be Aubameyang. Why not just play him there for the entire 90? Why the last 10? Why the last 8 minutes? You want to see him if he can remove his jacket and come onto the pitch? The last 8 minutes.
Mate, what can you say anymore? What can you say? Just lastly, in terms of the lineup. Similar thoughts to the boys, or was there anything that you were like, did you see any reason behind any of these changes that are confusing?
Initial reaction, I'll actually read you what I posted.
Okay, go on.
Why the fuck did I get up to this? Hashtag Potter out.
Yeah.
When I saw the lineup. You do realize that Badia Shield and Fofana were our backup fullback options today.
Yeah, because we didn't have Aspie on the bench either with his concussion.
And we didn't have Cucurella. So if Chilwell or James would have went down, you would have seen Fofana or Badia Shield playing those positions. That was the tactics today, or the backup plan. Why is Cucurella not in the starting? If this guy still can't get over his house being robbed at the beginning of the season, then he doesn't have the mentality to be a professional football player.
I think he just had a kid, but I'm not sure. Like if the kid is healthy,
again, I don't care.
No.
You have a job. You get paid millions of dollars a year. Suck it up. Get on the football pitch. Because usually people, or the mentality used to be, I go play when I'm on the football pitch, I can forget about anything else in my life and just focus on football. And that some people think that's cathartic because you don't have to think about all the other stuff going on. You can just go out there and play and forget about it. Apparently, he doesn't have that mentality where he can get over stuff. Okay? Done with that. Mentality is weak. Hakim Ziyech, why do you bring this guy back in? There should be no players in this lineup that don't have a future with the team. Ziyech has no future with this team, right? Looks like Mount and Gallagher have no future with this team. Why isn't Carney Chukwuemeka in this lineup? It gives you something different that nobody else can give you in that position. not on the bench. This guy has absolutely no clue what he's doing. He needs to go. They need to fire him now. Bring in who your next choice is, and let's go again, because he has shown that he has no idea what he's doing at this level. He is a professor trying to be a coach. That's what he is. He would probably be a great philosophy professor, but not a coach.
Yeah. Maybe he'll teach football at UCFB. Do you know what I mean? Because apparently you can study football at university, which is half the problem, really. What did I see here? Someone said something quite amusing. Someone said that Potter probably gave Cucurella leave because he had a child. Wouldn't surprise me, if I'm being perfectly honest. Ace Ready with the super chat. Appreciate it. He says Ziyech's instruction was to cross and hope for on goal. But was it? How many crosses did he try? 2? You know, I can't even say that. And if that was the instruction, well, he certainly didn't fucking follow it. I will say that. Let's get this off the screen. Let's get the lineup up on screen as we played it. Like I say, off the ball, which is, by the way, how I changed now that Reece James is now the one that's not bombing forward because it's Chilwell. And we do this. We did it before all the same, just on the other side, where Cucurella then tucked in and basically did this. And then in possession, we basically do it like this, and we put Reece James as a midfielder, which is why, in the end, Reece James is never any further forward to be useful in attack, which is we learned already under Thomas Tuchel and at the beginning of the season under Graham Potter that he's the only guy that's going to help us score a goal. So I know he's not fit, and maybe this makes him run a little bit less, so I understand maybe that logic a little bit. But my God, like, if you're not even going to let Reece James go forward, what even is the point, man? Like, what even is the point? It just pisses me off. Let's start talking about it. Kepa and goal. Blaming him for the goal. Now, let's make one thing very clear. The main culprit for the goal, in my opinion, is Enzo Fernandez, personally, because Tottenham had a shot initially. Kepa didn't save very well. It let it spill a little bit, but there was no Tottenham player anywhere near. And Kepa literally would have just grabbed the loose ball. But instead, Enzo tried to clear it, but cleared it no more than 25 yards straight to the chest of Oliver Skipp. And Joao Felix, wasn't quite realizing that, this is the Premier League and you actually need to get your body on the line and involved and not just let the guy run past you. But then the shot, obviously, I don't know if I want to blame him, because if he's taller, he probably saves it. But because he's not taller, can I blame him? It's a tough one. Because he gets a hand on it, I will blame him. Because if you get a hand on it, I don't really care how hard the shot is. Do more. But maybe it's also harsh. But at this point, do I care? Do I care? No. The problem in itself is how it started in the first place. The problem in itself is how we came out of half time, looking the way we did. It was one long ball. Richarlison wins it, no problem whatsoever. Then it gets laid off. Then we, like I say, have that shot that Kepa saves. Enzo clears it. Looks like we were all over the place. Straight after half time, like Jester said, or was it VJ? How can we be worse straight after half time than before when we already were bad before? It's a joke. I will, because I think he should do better, but I don't think it's like an absolute howl of an error from Kepa's side. I'm going to give him a 5. Otherwise, didn't really have to do anything. Like, Spurs didn't really shoot at that goal much, did they? And then obviously for the last goal, we can't do nothing about that one. I personally still think the last goal should never ever stand. Like, Eric Dyer was literally, using Mason Mount as a foundation to build a tower. Like, literally, you couldn't have leaned on him anymore. But without, this doesn't excuse anything or anyone, because, excuse me, Mr. Anthony Barry, who came up with the idea to put Mason Mount on Eric Dyer? What? Why? At this point, we had Zakaria on the pitch, we had Wesley Fofana on the pitch, we had Koulibaly on the pitch, we had Reece James on the pitch, and we had Kai Havertz on the pitch. Okay, Kai Havertz is near post, sure. Then Loftus-Cheek had been taken off. So still, 4 tall players. And you decide to put Mount on Eric Dyer. What? I know it's partly zonal marking, partly man marking. I understand. But he was so with him from the get-go. Put someone else with him, huh? How about that one? I'm just fucking saying. But anyways, we're talking about Kepa. Pies, I'll start with you. Do you think he should do so much better for the goal? Or what would you make of Kepa?
Yeah, I think he should have saved it, to be honest. There's other faults for the goal as well, but luckily the cup final's on in a few minutes, so I won't say too much. I'll just give him a rating. Yeah, I think 5's fair enough. It's below average. He made the mistake. I think he should have got to it, but we know he's a small keeper anyway. We know he has difficulties reaching up high. So, I think fucking letting Oliver Skipp scoring is just where we are at a club. So, yeah, at the moment, fantastic.
Yeah. Did you say a rating now, or did you not want to give a rating?
I said 5.
All right. BJ, Kepa, do you think he should save it? What do you think about the goal in general? Do you agree that Enzo shouldn't basically shoot it out of Kepa's hands?
I was a bit concerned about the fumble for the first shot.
But there was no Spurs player around. So, as much as he shouldn't fumble it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And one thing Enzo should have done better is, it's common across the league. You need to loop the ball more. You cannot just, it was a bad clearance, basically. It was very flat. That's why a player could reach it with his chest. You basically clear it off. That's what you're supposed to do. So Enzo, a bit mistake there.
But then, if you have to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, arguably. And one more thing is, which I felt was also a bit of concern that we have to take into equation when we rate Kepa, is that Koulibaly was blocking his view. Immediately after Kepa, got up, the first reaction was that he could not see. He could not see what was coming. He basically blindly went towards his left because he thought the shot was going to come towards the top left, and he got a hand to it. But then there was a bit of, Koulibaly standing before him. He was trying to, block it, and he could not reach. So partially that also plays a huge role in the, lead up to the goal. But 5 is decent. Could have done better during certain situations. Don't keep punching the ball. If you can grab the ball, please do go for it. He needs to change that. And Kepa against long shot is something that still is a bit of a issue for me.
We know that. Unfortunately, we know that. Jester, what about you? Do you mainly blame Kepa for the goal, or what did you give Kepa in terms
of? Well, I originally didn't see it live because, like I said, I was in the shower.
Yeah.
When 0-0 came out 1-0, I was like, yeah, that's about the size of it. I was like, how do you give up a goal 15 minutes after halftime or 15 seconds after halftime? No, I don't blame Kepa for the goal. Again, Koulibaly's in a way, and the ball's actually knuckling away from the keeper. So you pick it up late, and the ball's knuckling away. He got a hand to it. I guess if he was taller, maybe he would have done better, but Koulibaly, why aren't you sticking your head to that ball? Why didn't you? I mean, you were there, but you didn't.
He tried though. He
tried. It was like, I'm gonna look like I'm gonna stick my head in there, but I want no piece of that ball.
Do you think?
Okay.
Oh, maybe I need to see it.
Oh yeah. They're doing that mathematics in their head. Like, do I want a concussion today? Some people have it. Yeah, I'll go get that concussion.
Don't blame him for not wanting one, but.
Yeah, but again, Aspie would have still put his head out there.
Yeah, no, you would.
And got the concussion because some people had the mindset of I'll do whatever it takes to win. So yeah, I was like, well, what? You're standing there. You made no motion toward the ball. You were like, so it's half-assed, just like the entire team was half-assed. So I give him a 6, average.
Fair. Keep it a 5 overall, I think, because we had 3 5s.
Yeah, sure.
5 or 6 doesn't really matter so much. Let me quickly take this off the screen. And Pies, by the way, if you're going to go and watch the cup final, obviously you do, bro. Just let me know. But what I'm going to get on screen for a second is another quote from Potter after the game. He says, Potter on his future, Chelsea. I haven't done enough at this club to have too much good faith. Well, at least he seems realistic now. That's all I can say to that. But at the same time, as much as I understand everything's going bad right now, what annoys me about Potter, a lot of people criticize the way he speaks, what he says, blah, blah, blah. What annoys me a bit is that he always says, I know, I think I deserve to be here and I know what I've done to be here. That's all well and good. But what I've never really got is even when he was asked about it, is an answer to what the plan is, how to make it better. Because how many of us have talked about in terms of style of play? I mean, I question what you define as a style of play, because I see certain things that Potter tries to do, but they never last into the final third. Once we get anywhere near the final third, I never see what we're trying to do. I just 90% of the time we have one, sometimes no players in there. I'm like, Well, what are we attempting? We're playing Spurs who are parking the bus. And you have no one in and around the box. What do you expect to happen? I missed your super chat, did I, Felix? I do apologize if I did. I will try to find it. But yeah, let me take this back off it. Pice, I'll start with you again. Thiago Silva, not really much of a rating to give out, but our luck, like regardless of Potter in, Potter out, whatever position you're in, our luck just is nothing's going our way, is it? Like Thiago Silva gets injured, Reece James gets nutmegged, defending like an absolute clown in that moment. Gets nutmegged. Thiago Silva has to clean up for him. Koulibaly's also storming across, trying to clear up. Then Koulibaly and Thiago Silva collide with Thiago Silva's knee, and then Harry Kane falls on top of Thiago Silva's knee. We don't know which contact caused the injury, obviously. One of the two. But such a great tackle, and what we end up with is one of the 2 or 3 somewhat reliable players injured again. Like, luck is not our thing at the moment, is it, Price?
No, it's not. I'm gonna go watch the cup final. I don't think you guys want me on it anyway. I'll just be shouting and screaming. But yeah, I mean, do you want me to just go through the player ratings? I mean, it was just
Can do.
Yeah. Who are we on? Silva or
Yeah.
Fofana?
Well, both.
I mean, well, Silva probably gets a 6 for that tackle he made.
Yeah. I mean, I just give him an NA because how much?
Yeah, true. Yeah, probably an NA. Hopefully he's all right. He didn't look too bad when he came off. So yeah, but you never know. You know, he's old muscle. So hopefully his knees better. Fofana I thought was pretty much probably our only good player. You know, only somewhat good player. Probably give him. I'll probably give him a 6 just because we still lost. Everyone else is going to be lower, I think, personally. Maybe a 6.5, but, you know, the boys will debate that. Koulibaly, I don't know, really. He didn't really do too much wrong. 6, 5.5, 6, probably a 6 again.
I just put question mark for the time.
Yeah, the question mark. Not too sure. Chilwell, I mean... Wow. Defensively, I thought when Kulusevski absolutely skinned him, I didn't think he was great defensively. Going forward, he offered us a bit, but you know, I don't think good enough for me. Not a great game. 5.5, I'd probably give him. Reece James again, like not too much going forward. Probably give him a 5.5 as well. I was a bit disappointed with Reece, to be honest. You know, he got done by Kane. It was terrible defending there. Which caused Silva to make that tackle. So, you know, he needs to fix up a little bit again. Enzo thought he was not very good at all. To be honest with you, I don't think. Again, I do feel his limitations are kind of similar to Jorginho. Man, he's not quick at all. He's very, very slow, to be honest, from what I'm seeing. You know, maybe he's a bit better in the tackle, but I don't want him as the as the 6, to be honest with you. You know, he made that great pass to Felix, but defensively, I think was not very good. But I also think tactically as well, like how much space was there in the middle of the pitch? I noticed this again last week.
Because we do the back 5 thing. Because instead of putting anyone in the middle, we put out a line of 5 at the back, and then offer all the space in the middle. And like I argued that very point for Jorginho when Jorginho was being scrutinized. I'm like, well. If you're not the quickest, then Enzo is at least quicker than Jorginho, but I agree, he's not particularly fast. What do you want these players to do? 2 players, and you have what feels like 10 acres for them to cover as a 2. Like, no matter who those 2 are, unless you have Kante, it's never going to work.
Yeah, there was... Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so much wrong with this team. Enzo, I'll probably go over 4, to be honest. I thought he was pretty poor. I'm not going to lie. But again, you know, question marks. Is it his fault? You know, I don't know. There's so much debate about. Loftus-Cheek.
Mate, did you even see Ruben? I basically didn't see Ruben for the whole game. Like, in terms of not see that he was there, but see him do anything good or anything bad, really.
Yeah. But Ruben's like that in the pivot, though. It's like,
yeah, it's true.
He's like... He's not like, I don't know, like he's just there almost. He made a good tackle early on, but again, I don't know. I'm really struggling for a rating with Ruben, to be fair.
We're going to just leave it as a question mark. We'll finish.
Yeah, question mark. Oh, the attackers. This is going to be interesting. Felix, I thought he was terrible today, personally.
He was.
I mean, he tried. He got on the ball. Definitely, he got on the ball. Like, he was finding pockets of space, but just not good enough. Nowhere near his quality that he can consistently show. I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go lower than Enzo. I think he was worse.
I think it's fine, yeah.
Ziyech 0. Thought he was absolute dog shit. He can fuck off.
But
Honestly,
he's lucky he didn't get sent off. That's the only.
yeah. Sterling.
That's good for bad bunch, you know.
Yeah. Still 6 though. Still a 6. Yeah. For maybe 6.5, maybe, but yeah, he was the only one that was trying to run at players or do something. Like that was one of my biggest frustrations with Sterling early on, was like he never took players on. Today he was actually running at players. So I was like, oh my God, but still, I mean, the end product, you know, he had that
one
shot.
good shot. That was a decent shot.
Yeah, but Forster could have caught that. I don't know how he dropped that. Personally, I think it was a great shot. But and then Havertz, 0 for me. I thought he was shocking. I don't know why he was on the pitch. Terrible. Didn't press. He again. I say this about Havertz all the time. He plays in slow motion. He turns like he's 7'4". Like I don't understand, man. He's just fucking awful. I'm sorry, but yeah, nothing from Havertz. There's my ratings.
There you go, Pies. We appreciate you giving us that little bit of time. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll bring Clutch in to replace Pies, aren't we? We've got all the subs lined up. Better than Potter, aren't I? Do you know what I mean?
Sorry. I'll make it up with a longer stream next week.
No worries, bro.
Right,
Take
see
care.
you guys later.
Clutch, thank you for joining us. I know you missed a little bit of the first half, which is arguably good because you missed the part where we were best. So now you will be even more angry or disappointed or whatever you want to call it. Because literally, until Thiago Silva, I mean, does everyone agree with this, by the way? That until Thiago Silva had to come off, we were actually like, okay, like we pressed pretty high. We won the ball back super early all the time and should have, quite frankly, scored the goal if Joao Felix just doesn't completely misjudge the over-the-top ball, because it's an easy square to Havertz for me. And then it's just a tap. Okay, easy is harsh. But when you're talking about a player who had 19 cost 140 million, for a player of that ability, in my opinion, that's easy. But I mean, is everyone agreeing with that? Before I get to Clutch, just do you think until Thiago came off, we were pretty okay? No,
yeah, we had more control with the ball though. So
really?
We never looked like we were going to score
good at the beginning.
Because we did the same thing we always do. Fine, have all the possession you want. Did we really look like we were going to score? One chance. This is what we're talking about. We didn't look cutting edge. We didn't look anything. We could have been out there till tomorrow and not scored a goal with nobody else no opposition on the field.
To be fair, Man
That's how
City
bad
also
it
don't
was.
score against Spurs. So I feel like when you play, like, I agree with you, but I feel like part of that is also, well, the opponent are also good defensively. And with how bad we are going forward, I'm not exactly shocked that we can't score.
Don't forget, City have never scored at Spurs.
Yeah, I don't want to hear. I don't care.
And just as if you remember the previous Southampton game, the first 20 minutes where we seldom had the ball with us in our own home, this was a lot better.
I don't think so. Did we score a goal?
I mean,
did we do anything to imprint on this game? We did nothing.
I don't have an answer for I don't have the answer for that question for the last 2 months. So,
yeah, mate, we scored one goal in February. One goal.
Congratulations to Felix on the goal of the month.
Exactly. It was a decent goal, to be fair. Like we're entering the 3rd month of the year and we've scored 4 goals. You know how disgraceful that is. That is so bad.
And one win in the last 2 months.
Yeah, Real Madrid have scored more goals in England than we have, and they did in 70 minutes.
Yep.
This month. So.
Absolutely. I mean,
Romelu Lukaku
if did things like Alisson did against Real Madrid, maybe we'd have a couple more goals as well. But because nothing goes for us, it is what it is. Let me give Clutch a moment to speak about what he thought and Potter, and will we get him sacked? And then I'll get to a couple of super chats and then we'll finish the ratings. So Clutch, I can't remember what you said last week, to be honest, but should we sack him? I assume you're on board with most others now. Because you just can't see, like, I don't see any improvement. And when Dortmund was okay, sure, was decent. We missed some chances. We should have won the game. Fair enough. But how bad that first half against Southampton was. And today, we didn't even have one good half. We had maybe an acceptable 20 minutes, even if Chester doesn't think so. But, like, it's like, again, it's regression. There's no progression.
I'll say what I said last week, which was I don't have an argument against it. I mean, the only one you'd have is my whole thing is like if you sack somebody now, we need an interim manager. Luis Enrique, don't care, don't want him. Pochettino, not an option. Whoever you get, if you want to do JT for 6 months, I don't care. Do it. Just it has to be interim. I do think he needs to go. I think if he doesn't get sacked, which it doesn't look like he is, he needs to resign. And this is what's best for him. At this point, it's not even what's best for the team. It's what's best for him. He's not going to make any friends here anymore. People have already made their bed. They've already made their decisions. The line's already drawn, and people don't come back from the line. It doesn't matter. He can win the rest of the season. I don't think a lot of people would jump over the ship. I think people would still be like, well, you remember that run we had, the 2-16? You remember that? I think for him, what's best for him, especially his career. I mean, he's ruining a lot of his career right now by hoping for the best. I mean, if it's that bad, just bro, like it's okay. Like it's okay to give up every once in a while. Like it's okay. Like I know it's not been the easiest. I know a lot of things, but at the end of the day,
if he resigns, he's not going to get a payout. So he'd also be a bit stupid to resign.
Yeah, but at this point, if you're not going to get fired, it's just there's a snowball effect that's happening anyway. You might as well just take the pay, whatever. Like you'll get another job somewhere. You'll be all right.
But if you had lined up £60 million, you wouldn't quit either, would you? Let's be honest.
I'm also don't make millions of dollars. I won't make millions of dollars like he will somewhere else either. Like he can make millions of dollars. So I'm going to take the payout because I'm not going to make 60 million in my life. I know that. My net worth is they told me my net worth is $1 million. That's horseshit in my opinion. I'm not worth $1 million, but I do think he needs to go. Long story short, but at the end of the day, I think like there's a lot of things with, especially if you look at the starting lineup. Like, why is Ziyech starting? Yesterday, I said put Sterling on the left and Madueke on the right. Do I really think Madueke would have been much worse than Ziyech today? No. Do I really think he would have been much better?
It was impossible to be worse than what Ziyech did today.
Yeah, I think it's time. It's time. Unfortunately, like you gave it the best shot, but whoever you do, you can't give him a window right now. Like you can't hire a Luis Enrique and give him a window. Because we'll end up with Morata again, and I don't want that. That will be absolute dog shit if we get him.
Did you just say Morata?
Yeah.
Why have you come up with that?
What about, man?
Enrique?
But he doesn't even like Morata the best of times. He doesn't even start him for Spain.
Yeah, but he comes on and saves his ass a whole bunch, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, but one thing's for sure. If we get Enrique, he will absolutely love Kai Havertz. And there's anyone that doesn't like Kai Havertz, you better not want Enrique because Kai Havertz ain't going nowhere if we get Enrique. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I just think we're getting it wrong on a consistent basis now. At this point, just cut the ties, hope for the best, end the toxicity, and just get somebody new.
There you go. Let me get to some super chats before we continue with the ratings. Felix, you mentioned it. I did miss it. My apologies. He says, our signings are getting worse. Are not even playing. And you're right. You're actually right. Felix certainly looked a lot better when he first played. Mudryk, by far his best performance when he came against Liverpool. The more he's played since then, the worse he looked. To be fair, today was better than the last two games. But he just came on so way too late that it was completely pointless by that point. Enzo is getting worse and worse. And Badiashil's not even picked for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Jack Malloy, sorry, I did see, because obviously you remember, I did see the other message earlier, but I couldn't highlight it anymore for some reason. It was playing out. But I appreciate the donation. He says, what was said at halftime to come out of sleep? I want a Potter, but he cannot coach his way out of the paper bag. Mate, at this point, I'm questioning, does he even do coaching? Like, what does he do? He doesn't feel like coaching. But I don't know. I don't know anymore. My God, let's get to these players, man. Thiago Silva, I'm sure we're all going to agree as an NA. Wesley Fofana, I'll start with you, VJ. Were you happy with him? He was the only bright spot literally in both of the last two games.
Yeah, he was all right. Especially coming from that injury, he managed to hold the fort as much as he could. And I'd probably go for a 6.5 for Fofana. I just don't want to give anyone 7 in this game, to be honest. That's the reason. But he's probably my highest.
Yeah, that's fair. And Kunta-kun, can you please stop talking about giving Emma Hayes a run? Because the women's team have absolutely not deserved being stripped off the managers just because the men's team is incapable of finding a good one. Not how it works. Are they still winning? They were winning against Arsenal earlier, which would put them top.
Yes, they are.
They are still winning?
Yeah.
Good.
I think they won.
Oh, they won 2-0. Yeah, there you go. Sophie Ingle and Sam Kerr. Well, see, they are capable at least. So that's.
I'd sign Sam Kerr for the men's team. I bet you she'd do. I bet you she'd score like 5 goals this year. I bet.
Let's not go there and do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because there's
Yeah,
no
that's
way.
stupid.
There's no way a woman can come into a professional men's team and even.
Yes, I don't know what's happening, but your sound is super strange. You sound like a robot.
I sound like a robot. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Don't know how we're gonna fix that, but it's something we need to try with your microphone because like that, we can't have it like that. But anyway, okay, 6.5 from BJ. I'll give Jess a bit more time to try and fix the microphone. Clutch, Wesley Fofana, happy with him at least?
Yeah, I thought he did decent. I'd give him. He stepped up when we needed him. I'd give him. You know what? I'm gonna give him a 6. I can't really go any higher than that.
6, yeah. It's a weird one because for Koulibaly, I mean, I know Jester said he doesn't think he tried hard enough to get his head in there. I'd have to see it back, but from the replay I saw, I thought he did. So I'm tempted to give Fofana 6.5. But I'm not sure if I'm just being nice. Now, you know what? I think I will go with 6.5. But Jester might drag it back down anyway. Jester, does the microphone work better? Let's try.
Yeah, I switched browsers.
Okay. There you go. What would you give Wesley Fofana? Pice gave a 6, Clutch gave a 6, and VJ and myself gave a 6.5. What would you give him?
Yeah, I'm not too bothered. 6.5 is fine for me. I thought he was, he shows why he is the future at that position. So 6.5 is fine.
Fair enough. Let's get to Koulibaly then. You know what, Jess, I'll stick with you. If you think he should have done better in terms of getting his head in there, you're probably going to go a little lower, but he didn't really do anything wrong maybe outside of that moment, did he? To be honest, other than Mount being, in my opinion, fouled for the corner, I can't even remember if anyone did anything wrong, if I'm being perfectly honest.
No, I'm fine with a 6 or a 6.5 for him even. Yes, I said he should have put his head in there, but how many people in today's game is actually going to do that? Yeah. And, if he has to put his head in and get knocked out so we don't give up a goal, well, that's really not his fault either, is it?
No.
So I'm fine with even giving him a 6.5 because I don't think defense was a problem. If you don't ever score and you give nothing going forward, you're inviting your defense to be overrun and picked apart. And that's on the offense more than the defense.
Absolutely. Fair play. 6.5 from your end then. Vijay, would you give Koulibaly the same as Fofana, or would you go a tad lower than you did for Wesley?
I'd go for a 6. Sometimes I felt that he did not have that. With Koulibaly, this has always been the case, right? Sometimes he doesn't think straight. He's just run with the emotions, and he just does things a bit rough. I'd want him to be more smart about how he conducts himself on the pitch. There was one particular scene where the ball was out, and then he actually went for the throw in, but then Chilwell was actually asking for it. He went for the throw in, and he basically threw the ball away, and he just threw the ball away, right? And you could have just.
This is why you don't let centre backs do throw it.
So those kind of smart things, that's something Koulibaly has to do, but I still feel that he couldn't have done any better on that shot from Skipp. I don't think so. It was him being afraid of the ball more. It's more of him not being able to reach it. We saw it in a slow motion, so we could easily perceive that maybe he has the ability to reach it, but I think in the split second he's not going to reach it anyways. So I felt that's a bit too harsh on Koulibaly, but 6 for me. Fofana the best on the defense today.
Fair enough. Clutch, would you give him a 6 as well, or would you go for the 6.5 like Jester did?
I'd go for a 6.
Yeah. I'd probably go for the 6 just because similar to, I can't remember, I think BJ said it, I don't want to give anyone a 7, and I do think Fofana was the best, so therefore I want to give him a little bit higher, even though I don't really think Koulibaly did anything wrong. Ben Chilwell on the left side then, did get beat on a couple of occasions, but obviously he runs forward a lot, so he's not always going to be in position. That's, not, that doesn't mean he did anything wrong. That's just how football works. You can't be in 2 spots at the same time. But was he great? No. I'd honestly, I know Pies gave him a 5.5. I'd honestly give him a 5, if I'm honest. Yeah, because he was the fullback that was supposed to attack and didn't really manage much either. Like, he won a couple of corners, but I know we're in a bad run, but we're still Chelsea Football Club. I'm not gonna give praise for winning a corner. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna give him a 5. Clash, I'll go back to you first. What did you make of Ben Chilwell?
I didn't think he was good at all. I'd give him a 4. I thought it was pretty poor. I thought it's showing that the lack of game time is over the last 3 months has not been very kind to him. He's gonna have a bad game. Yeah, he's supposed to be able to get forward a lot, and he didn't really able to do that. Him and Sterling weren't that great together, so I'd give him a 4.
Fair enough. Jester, what about you? 4, 4.5, 5 in that realm, or would you go something different?
I mean, probably 5 for some of the defensive lapses and being beat, but I don't think he was as poor as people think he
Make
was.
him out to be. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, because he was put in a position to where if Kulusevski on his day, the one thing you want to do is make sure that you defend him, because they like to start. They actually like, if they're not going to play through Kane, they like to play through him and have either the off guy Richarlison or our son come in for the finish. And so again, on the coaching, you should have set Chilwell deeper and let James go forward. It would have made a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. Do you think we're doing this to protect James a little bit in terms of his past injuries?
No, I think it's just more that. No, well, because Chilwell's had the injuries too. So,
but not as regularly, right? Like more like different ones rather than multiple of the same.
Right. I understand that, but it's not like he's not been down with injuries this year.
No, that's true. That point.
I think that if you also, when you do that, you make Enzo play more defense. Now, don't you? And why would you want your best offensive 6 to play more defense?
Well, we knew that's what we wanted the second we sold Jorginho anyway. So,
Well, that's. I think that's a not correct. Jorginho is not a defensive player
next
at
to
all.
Enzo would be higher, no?
Yeah, but if you play Enzo next to Jorginho, we lose 6-0 every game because Enzo does lack a little.
2-0. I mean, what difference does it make?
Well, and Enzo does lack a little bit of pace. I said this in the World Cup when I watched him play in the World Cup. He does have a lack of pace, not to the extent of Jorginho.
Yeah,
but you can't put 2 players in there that really aren't DMs or doesn't have they're not able to clear up mistakes with speed or anything else. So that would have been disastrous pairing.
The Potter doesn't seem to want to play Zakaria deep, and we don't have anyone else that can do it. So
that's on coaching now, isn't it? Zakaria is the ideal
planning, all sorts of things. No,
yeah, that's on the coach. So, like I said, I don't think Chilwell was that bad. He just was given a role that maybe he shouldn't have been given today.
Fair enough. VJ, what about you? A couple of 5s for Chilwell, 1 4, and obviously the 5.5 from Pice, but I'm not sure if I'll always be able to include that one because I might forget. But what would you give Tilly today?
Now, I'd go for a 4 for Chilwell. It might be a bit harsh, but I don't really see the kind of work rate that I used to see from our fullbacks when Thomas Tuchel was coaching this side. They've started to regress. Injury
different
could be. It is a different formation, but still, our attack just comes. I mean, our attack just comes from the fullbacks, and if they don't perform, we don't win either. So we do have a lot of wingers and new guys, strikers coming in, but who can really score? We had to rely on Reece James and Chilwell every game of the game. That's how Chelsea has operated in the last 2 years. And Chilwell, for me now, I feel he's not contributing that great up the pitch. Today, Sterling, when he was able to perform that good up top, a bit of help from Chilwell could have made things a lot harder for Tottenham. But yeah, I get the formation change, but just a bit of just a part of me thinks Chilwell, if he can go forward, Enzo could support the back during those transitions. Maybe we have something better there. This is me.
Although the one thing I would slightly disagree with that Chile didn't get forward. Now he might not have done much useful, but I think he certainly pushed forward. Like he was very high. Like he was certainly the fullback that was much higher than Reece James.
Yeah, out of the two, yes, I get that. But Reece James, I'm not going to rate Reece James right now in his current.
He's been back for longer than Chile has, though. I will just tell you. And Chile had an ACL injury before that too.
I know.
Yeah, arguably more of an excuse than Reece, because we'll get to Reece now. Before I get to the super chat from no one, I will get to that after that. Price game of 5.5, I drastically disagree. I will give Reece a 4, and if my opinion, I'm being nice when doing that. I mean, he literally caused Thiago Silva's injury by getting nutmegged. What are you doing? He was then captain, and our entire team capitulated. You're supposed to be captain, right? I mean, everyone's talking him up as the next captain, and I think he should and maybe could be that as well. But get the team going, man. Like, I do. Like, this is what pisses me off. Like, Eris in the chat says here, the manager is just shit. We can't rate the players. No. These are professional footballers. They're not footballers since yesterday. It's not Graham Potter. He's not the first guy to teach them how to play football. We are playing Tottenham here. Our biggest rivals. And, Enzo, maybe even Koulibaly. These guys, Joao Felix, these guys might not be as aware how much this means to the football club. But Reece James should be fucking aware. So if you got the captain armband after, Thiago Silva comes off, fucking do something. He tried hard against Southampton than he did against Spurs. What is that? Oh, no, he didn't play against Southampton. Sorry. Against Dortmund. Tried hard against Dortmund than he did against Spurs. No, it's more the Champions League and we do nothing in the Premier League anymore anyway. But it's Tottenham. Do something. It was awful, in my opinion. Now, not all his fault that he doesn't go forward more. Tactical idea. But it doesn't work anyway. Which is on Potter, not on Reece. But I still think he did nothing useful. Even when he did cross, they were awful. Didn't provide any defensive stability. Didn't provide any defensive stability. Didn't provide any use in build-up. Useless at the moment. Partly positionally, partly tactically, partly because coming back from injury, sure. But just because we love him doesn't mean we can't criticize him. Do you know what I mean? I love Reece James, my favorite player. But doesn't mean I can't criticize him because it certainly wasn't fucking good, was it? I never see Reece talking to the players on the pitch now. He seems quiet. That's my point, you saying. Exactly my point. But yeah, I will say 4. Maybe I just will give him higher. That's fair enough. Jester, I'll let you go first. Do you agree with my harsh criticism or do you think I was too harsh?
I mean, I'm not going to criticize anybody for being too harsh. After what we just witnessed, then that's not going to happen. I don't think he was as bad as maybe. I think because we're comparing him with Reece James in his full flow, yes. He looks good. If you compare Reece James in his full flow and the Reece James was on the pitch, yes, it looks awful. But I think in context of the game, again, for me, a little below average for him, so a 5.
Okay.
I'm really putting this on Potter more than anybody else because of the no training this week, of the lineup that was put out there, and of the tactics that were non-existent or wrong in this case. So
fair enough. And I mean, I do see people saying when the opposition has you tactically beat, there's not much more you can improve while on the pitch without guidance. See, I don't think that's true. I don't think we were tactically beat as such. I don't think because it's not tactics that beat us today. We got beat by a fluke goal and the goal that should never have stood from a set piece. We weren't tactically beat. we were just beat by not being capable of attacking. That's it, in my opinion. But obviously, everyone will have different thoughts on that. But fair enough. A 4 and a 5 so far. Then, VJ, what about you? What are you going to give Reece James?
Should I be putting this on Potter when you know Reece James was the best attacking fullback that England or the English Premier League had in the previous year, and you still not choose to utilize him in the position that he has shown his strength? Is it more on Potter or is it more on Reece? Probably side with Potter. So
But he wasn't good defensively either. So whether he's usually the best offensive fullback or not doesn't mean he did a good job at what he was supposed to do today, though.
Today, obviously, he could not contribute on the either side. A bit of leadership ability as well, lacking on that. But still, come on. I'm not sure how many games he had actually captained Chelsea before. I don't have the statistics with me now, so he hasn't, right? So maybe it's too early to judge what he can do as a leader on the pitch in the 45-50 minutes he's been given. I feel one of those comments there from Iris sums it up properly. Due to the lack of managers' ability, due to the inability of the managers, a lot of players seem to be bad than they, are actually. So today, Reece is a 4, but he is really capable of doing more than that. And I really want Potter to get him going.
Absolutely. Fair play. Clutch, finish it off for us for Reece James. 2 4s, 1 5, 5.5 from Pies. What are you going to give Reece? You're muted, bro.
I'm just going to go 4.5, I think. I'm just going to stay in the middle. I agree with pretty much everybody. The one thing I will say is, like, I was never, even though I will have to say this because I'm about to get cooked. Reece James is our best player, but he is not a captain, and he never will be. He is too shy. If you want a captain, go get somebody who's talking to players like Kepa. And you may not like that, but Kepa right now would be a better captain than Reece James because he talks to players. He tries to talk to people on the field. Or even Enzo. Enzo's got that dog in him. Have him do it.
He just doesn't speak English yet. So that is a problem.
That is true. But Reece James, he's too quiet to be. He's too quiet.
I actually agree with that, yeah. But he's still a young man. Maybe that will still come out of him. So I will still give him that benefit of the doubt. But as of today, I agree.
That's all I had, by the way.
Fair. All good. Let's move up to Enzo then. A 4 from Pice. Who would have thought that Pice would give Enzo a 4? Enzo's a tough one today because I think he's the main culprit for the goal we conceded. But it's a mistake that happens because he tries to help so hard. To me, because he's like, oh shit, fucking Kepa couldn't hold on to it. I need to punt it immediately, rather than being fully aware that there's no one around and stuff. And I understand. Like, I understand you're a young player, new club, huge transfer fee. You just want to try to help as much as you can. In that phase, in that situation, unfortunately, backfired. Was he awful overall? No. He was the only one that did anything useful, really, in midfield. But he still wasn't good, though, was he? I still think the pass to Felix should be an assist to an assist, and then we're praising him from here to fucking, well, wherever you want to say, really. But it didn't happen. And then when he had one shot, there was no power on it, it got blocked. I will give him a 4.5, but just a little higher than Pice did. I still don't think he was good, and I obviously think he was the main culprit for the goal. Sterling shouldn't have been selected. After today's game, Lee, you pick Sterling as the one to pick out. I've been super harsh on Sterling, but surely Sterling is the last player to have a go at today.
It's because of the new signings. People just want Mudryk and Madueke to play.
Yeah, but
we'll see. We'll see in the future. I'm not going to say anything too much, but we'll see. Go ahead, just let him have it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, like I say, I'll say 4.5. Gotcha. I'll let you go. Enzo, you were in a group chat very adamant that it was Enzo's fault, the goal, but how much does that lead into the rating?
A lot. That's quite literally the reason we went behind. And when you go behind, you start to scramble, you start to panic, things start to happen. Like, you open yourself up when you go behind. And, like, if you're going to clear it, at least boot the ball out of the fucking stands, right? Like, he cleared it 20 yards down the field, right to somebody else. And it's not like anybody was around. Like, I'm sorry. Like, when I'm not going to call him out, but when I was told in the group chat, like, Kepa can't save shit. He has the highest save percentage in the league right now. What do you mean he can't save shit? Like, stop being stupid. Kepa's been one of our better players this year. You can say whatever it is. He may not be good enough for Chelsea. Whatever. You can say that. That's fine. But Kepa not being able to save shit? Like, nah, that was on Enzo right there. He was the main culprit. It should have never happened. It should have never went to Oliver Skipp to even have that ability. So I'm going to give Enzo a 4.
Fair enough. Fair enough. DJ, what about you? 4, 4.5 is what we've been given so far. What are you going to give him?
I'll give him a 4.5. His work rate, like you mentioned, is pretty good. But he's still getting accustomed to the Chelsea's double pivot. I'm not sure if he's really comfortable. Does Zakaria allow him that space to move forward? RLC, did he do that? A lot of unanswered questions there. But Enzo, personally, he's trying a lot. That's the reason why he gets a 4.5 for me. Obviously, the clearance could have been much better. You usually try and clear from those spaces towards the sides, not back at your D line. If it is to the sides, it's a lot better. It's risk free, and it's just basics. He needs to stick to the basics sometimes. The price tag may be a bit weighing on him right now, but he's still going to be coming good for us soon. So I have a lot of hopes on him, but 4.5 today.
Right, Jester, last one on Enzo. 2 4s.
Yeah, I know. I don't get any of that, but that's okay. Without Enzo Fernandez, we wouldn't have got the ball over halfway line. I mean, to be serious, you say, well, Enzo, if you think Enzo was brought in to be a solo sixes, which is what he's ending up being, because the double pivot goes away. Zakaria was not given the order to be the deepest 6 when he came on the pitch. Obviously, again, another Potter tactic that's stupid as hell, because Enzo's your creative player, but you want him just to be playing defense when you're pushing Chilwell up higher than him. Higher than Enzo Fernandez.
Yep.
No, this is on Potter again. I'm going to say 5.5.
Okay, fair enough. I'll push it up to a 5 with that. I mean, you obviously didn't mention Tuchel there, but if we had Tuchel, he would also be deeper than Ben Chilwell. So it's not just.
Well, then we would be playing a back 3. I mean, wing back. So again,
exactly. All right, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Pice didn't give a rating. To be honest, I don't know what rating to give him.
I'm giving him an NA.
I genuinely want to give him.
No,
an NA.
you can't give him an NA. He played the first
Yeah,
half.
30 touches, bro.
I'm just saying I want to.
Yeah, that's on him.
Yeah, no,
that's on him.
It is.
If we're giving people 4s for playing badly, and you say, well, we can't rate him because he only had 30 touches. Okay, well, that's on you. Maybe if you would have played better with Enzo would have been having, 116 touches, 120 touches?
134.
134, there you go.
Compared to Ruben's 37. That is a bit.
There you go.
To be fair, how many times do our center backs have that? Quite often, actually.
Actually, since Enzo's come in, he's led the team.
He has the most touches. I mean, Koulibaly had 83. Silva obviously only had 15. He didn't play the whole game, did he? And Wesley Fofana had 47. But it's weird because Ruben's stats, pass accuracy was 93%. Chances created is apparently 1. Not sure what chance that is supposed to be. Dispossessed apparently only once. 1 2 out of 2 tackles. 1 interception, 5 recoveries. 3 out of 5 ground duels won. The reason why I say NA, Jester, even though I understand the whole not getting on the ball enough, obviously he needs to move to open himself up to get the ball, but he can't force anyone to give him the ball. I just didn't see him do anything good or anything bad. That's why I'm like, I don't know what to give him. But if you're more decided, what are you going to give him, Jester?
I'll go 4.5.
Okay. Yeah.
He just look. You have to show yourself and ask for the ball by finding the space, being available and not running away from the ball. So I'm sorry, there was no reason to start this man. He's not the future at Chelsea. He's a bench player at best. Why are we not starting people who we might think?
Because Zakaria was on the bench last week, and we didn't even bring him on to give him some minutes. That's why.
To be fair, do we think Zakaria is going to be the future of Chelsea? Because I don't.
I think he's more likely to be a Chelsea player next year than Ruben.
Yeah,
I would
agree with that.
Yes.
Because we're going to buy a DM, and then Zakaria won't even be a thing. Ruben's here because he's already on a contract. They're not going to sell him.
Yes, they're going to
They
sell him
will,
because
though,
he's.
because of homegrown, innit? Do you know what I mean?
What are you talking? They're going to get rid of all the Cobham players because we're not going to be in Champions
Oh,
League.
God, here we go.
Clutch,
No, but,
listen to
this
this.
is an actual report that there is that we're going to get rid of the common players because that's what makes the biggest financial fair play difference to allow us to spend as much as we do. So there is some concept to it. It's not going to be all of them, but it certainly will be a few. That's for sure. But will Zakaria stay? I don't know at this point. Maybe, maybe not. We will probably, hopefully, maybe have a new manager by then. So we don't know nothing at the moment in terms of who's staying, who's not. But fair enough. A 4.5 from Euro and Clutch. What about you? 37 touches with however many minutes he played until he was subbed off. It's not good. I agree with Jester on that in terms of you need to open yourself up to receive the ball a little more. At the same time, our team is clearly told to basically pass the ball to Enzo and let him do something, basically. So, like I say, you said an A, but what do you do with that then?
I don't know. Ghost emoji, I guess. It's the best I got.
Ghost emoji is bad, to be honest, yeah.
Because, I mean, I wouldn't even know what to rate him. I didn't see him. I didn't even see him. I looked out there and I was like, who's playing with Enzo? Oh, it's Ruben. Oh, well, that took me, 40 minutes to spot, but I wouldn't even know I wouldn't even know what number to give him. 4? Go for 4.
Okay, fair enough. VJ, what about you?
I think Clutch and Justice was spot on. I took 20 minutes to figure out who was playing next to Enzo as well. So it was a bit difficult for me to understand why he shied so much away from the ball. I'm not going to agree to the fact that we just pass it to Enzo and expect Enzo to do something. It's not like Erling Haaland. Okay, go. All ball leads to Erling Haaland, all ball leads to Cristiano Ronaldo. We don't trust Enzo on that level yet.
Well, we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't have 137 touches.
No, I mean, that's probably because Ruben was not, ready to receive most of the passes. So it had to, it had to be led to Enzo. He was the only one who was available for this, for connecting the defense and the striker. So it could be that way as well. You get my point? Yeah. So for me, he needs to speak up more, like how Justice mentioned. Go show up for the ball, be at important position, create spaces for yourself. Those things are not something that you keep. Your thought game after game. It's basically the intelligence part of it. Which I feel he needs to work on more. He needs to be more smart enough to create space around himself and make sure that he's available to support the attack. So I feel I'll go for 3.5 for RLC.
Okay, fair enough. I will say I probably agree with Justice 4.5, to be honest, because I gave Enzo 4.5. He cost us a goal. Ruben just didn't do nothing. So in the end, that equals itself out to me. Fair enough. But you said 3.5, didn't you? Okay, so we have 2 4.5s. I mean, I was going to give you a poll. Doesn't matter. Give him a 4. Who cares at this point? Joao Felix had one shot straight at the keeper. We're back to how it was against Fulham before he got sent off. Shoot straight at the keeper or get blocked. Well, that pisses me off. Should have managed to bring that ball across from Enzo very early on. Imagine we take the early lead. Who knows what happens? Could have been exactly what we needed, but unfortunately it weren't to be. Also too slow and too weak for when we conceded the goal. Did he not know Skipp was coming? Did he just not put his body on the line enough? Who knows? That was one. We had literally one acceptably, well, I guess maybe 2, acceptably nice moments of play in the first half between him and Enzo. Yeah, sure, nice, wonderful. But that ain't enough. I'll probably agree with Pice's 3, to be honest. I don't... Because he still tried his thing and did things, but it wasn't really effective today. But it's so difficult because we're gonna give these forwards, other than maybe Sterling, low ratings. But at the same time, I'm like, do we set up in a way at the moment? Do we play in a moment to allow any attacker to be thriving? No. And whether there's Hakim Ziyech, whether it would have been Mudryk, whether it would have been Mudryk, whether it's Felix, Sterling, or Kai Havertz. I mean, Sterling found a way to do something at least. Fair play to him. But at the moment, as much as I want to criticize the forwards, do any of you guys watching us feel like we have a system in which it allows the attackers to do attacking things? Because it doesn't feel like that to me. And sure, a lack of confidence will be there. And Spurs being a good defensive team, I mean, Antonio Conte team, if they're going to be good at something, it's parking the bus. So it's difficult. I'm going to stick with the 3, but I just wanted to say that at the moment it kind of just feels like, do we even allow them to be positive, if that makes sense? Because I'm really not sure. Clutch, Joao Felix, a 3 from my end, a 3 from Pice's end. What are you going to give him?
I was thinking around the same. I only seen a couple good moments. I didn't even get to see the Enzo pass, so I can't speak on that. But it's pretty much looking to be the same thing. Like when he's not good, our attack isn't good. It's as simple as that.
Fair enough. Did you say you agree with the 3? Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
There you go. BJ, 3 for Joao Felix. Do you think it's harsh? What would you think?
3 for me as well. I mean, could have done better in the lead up to the goal. Physically, not yet that emasculating. And yeah, the initial, ball from Enzo could have been converted. I keep seeing this, through ball from Enzo the same way that of Jorginho. And every time I get reminded of that Havertz goal, I can't remember against which team that was, but then it came in a clutch moment. Havertz getting that goal after a loopy ball from Jorginho. Sorry?
Newcastle at home last season.
Yeah, Newcastle, great. So I keep getting reminded of that. I'm not saying it was as similar as that of the Jorginho ball, but I'd expect Felix to do a lot more better than that. He had his moments, but still can do a lot better.
Did you give me a rating already? Sorry if you did.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough. Manchester United, by the way, 2-0 up in the League Cup final. So Newcastle are just as useless as usual. Apparently, Loris Karius had an absolute howler, which is quite funny. But also, I still cannot understand what Nick Pope did last week. Like, why would you do that when you've got a cup final coming up? Like, why would you do that?
Because he's English.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
I got the bozo gene.
They really do. They really do. We've not even got any English people on here now. Look at this. That's how quick it goes. That's 3-3 so far. 4 3s actually. You gonna agree with the 3 as well? Or you're gonna agree?
No, not at all.
Okay, what are you gonna do?
5. What did you do wrong?
Good.
What did you do wrong?
Well,
I gave him a below average score.
Yeah,
what did he do wrong? If we're asking this dude who's supposed to as an attacking player and we're blaming him for defense, okay. I mean,
well,
yeah.
But we are all aware that football is a team sport and defending starts in the front.
Okay. I just think that first of all, we're doing him a disservice playing him as a 10.
Where would you play it?
I would play him out wide.
Okay.
Or at the striker.
He played out wide in the second half and was terrible, but we'll talk.
I mean, he was terrible.
He wasn't terrible,
but
he was about as good as the rest of the team. So,
which was terrible.
We weren't terrible. You act like we were smashed. That would be terrible. We were just ineffective, like a wet blanket, trying to comfort somebody.
Like a wet blanket. Yeah.
That's what we were. It's like, okay, well. So for me, he didn't do anything terribly wrong. He wasn't great, but who else was going to score other than him or Sterling? Nobody.
Was gonna is an easy thing to say though, because who did? No one.
No. But if you were to look on the pitch and you watched the whole game, the only people that were even in the positions to score was Sterling and Felix. Nobody else really worked. I mean, Havertz had a couple of front, balls that he maybe could have gotten to, but other than that, what? So 5 for me.
If that's fair enough, but because you asked what did he do wrong, JP asked the question, what did you do right? Like, can you put a finger on that as well? Or is it just the case you didn't do enough wrong to get any lower than a 5?
But I gave him a below average score.
No,
I said he was below average.
Asking you to elaborate.
Well, he made the correct runs. If you want to talk about the the try hard, he at least looked like he had some character and tried to play. You can't say that for everybody that got on the pitch.
No.
So again, I just think that you're probably superimposing how we feel on the players. And again, this is more on the coaching than the players.
I hear that to some extent. At the same time, I feel like if you are the player that we revolve our attacking on, and he isn't, like Kai Havertz is the striker. So when there's no balls there, literally nothing they can do. The 10 can drop and receive balls and do something with it. He had opportunities to assist the goal, missed the ball because he misjudged it. He had an opportunity to shoot, shot it straight at the goalkeeper. Again, maybe a 3 on the basis that you would blame the manager more. That I understand where you're coming from with that. I still think a 5 is maybe a tad high, but hey, here we are. We're here to have different opinions, are we not? Raheem Sterling, Pice gave him a 6. Do you think that's too high then, Jester, or do you think that is about warranted? At least in my opinion, he was certainly the one that stood out the most from the attackers.
Yeah, that's probably the best game I've seen him play since he first came here.
Yeah,
the first few that he
in a
played
long
well
time.
in.
Yeah, very.
It's been a long time, but yeah, I mean, again, the only 2 people on the pitch I thought were going to score for us were Felix and Sterling. So I'm fine, and Sterling was better than Felix. So give Sterling a 6. I'm fine with that. Certainly so.
Fair enough. I would probably agree with the 6 as well because, I mean, he tried to take players on. He was certainly the most, how do I word it? Like the person that seemed like to be attempting the most things. He obviously had that one very good shot. He, tried a few things at least. So yeah, I'll give him a 6. Also on the basis that I've not seen him do things that he tried today in a long time, but maybe that's slightly giving him a little bit of a nicer rating. He could probably do with the 5 as well, if I'm honest, but a 6 is justified, I think. VJ, 6 for Sterling, or do you think that's too nice in terms of how I attack in general didn't really do much?
Mute.
Sorry about that. So I'll even go for a 6.5 for Raheem Sterling, if I'm being honest. He was the only one who was direct, taking on players on that flank. He was the only one who seemed to be actually playing the role that we fans expected of our strikers or wingers, how you want to put it. But Raheem Sterling, for me, he's giving me that old Sterling vibes where we used to see him in Liverpool or Man City, where he takes on the player and tries to be more direct. If he's going to continue this run, we might see a turnaround in Sterling's career with Chelsea.
Okay, fair enough. 2 6s, 3 6s, sorry, and 1 6.5 clutch. What are you going to give Raheem Sterling? Oh, now you're muted.
Damn it! I said, yeah, he's 6. I don't think really much is needed to be said. He's the player who was trying to take people on. Actually gave him shit. Yes, Felix does, but at the end of the day, Felix is probably the best attacker we have. So he needs to do better. And if we say that for other people, then we need to say it for Felix too. And this is me saying, I love Felix. I think Felix is my favorite player behind a certain other person we won't talk about. But sometimes you gotta hold the L,
Yeah, sometimes you do. Before we get to Hakim Ziyech, let me quickly bring something up because Potter has lost the plot again. What is he doing? Potter apparently said in the post-match press conference, that's what I assume Pice is talking about here. We were talking before the game about watching the All or Nothing Amazon Prime documentary at Arsenal. 2 years into Mikel Arteta, of course, Mikel's reign, he's close to getting the sack. People are wanting him out, and it's a disaster. Obviously, now things have changed a little bit. Excuse me, Graham. Let me be personal. Let me be nice. Excuse me. You have 2 wins in 16 games. You have scored 1 goal in February, 4 goals in 2023, and we're about to go into March. Don't talk about what happened at Arsenal, who are top of the league. Don't talk about what's happening here or there. How about you focus on what we are doing? How about you start with that bit? It's just a suggestion, mate. How about starting with, Zakaria has come back from an injury. Shit, we're playing really badly against Southampton. Maybe I bring him on so at least next game I have a capable midfielder next to Enzo available. But no, we play a whole game against Southampton, use 2 subs, and then are surprised that the guy's not available next game. Well, fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Like, Are you listening to yourself? Again, I'm really not the guy to jump on what managers say in press conferences. Post-match a little more than I do pre-match, but this is a disgrace. I didn't hear the question, so the question can always change how bad I think of an answer. But no, what do you mean? Don't even talk to the team about watching an all or nothing documentary about Arsenal. What the fuck?
And let's not forget about where Arteta took this job from Arsenal. Arsenal were in drenches when Arteta took this job. So if he had got that 2 years of worst run, it was still acceptable for an Arsenal fan. Chelsea.
Well, it wasn't.
Thomas Tuchel just won the Champions League the previous season. Yeah, you're taking a successful team, you're taking a successful club.
2 seasons.
Sorry?
2 seasons ago.
Yeah, all right. 2 seasons ago. You still had most of the players from that Champions League squad playing in your team. Yeah. And apart from that, the board has supported you in ways that no other board would have supported.
Yeah.
We don't have the best player we've ever had in Turbo Timo. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're wasting Turbo Timo. Imagine. Who would have thought? Oh my God. And now we have another Turbo guy, and our manager leaves him on the bench. Let's get to Hakim Ziyech. My God, I literally because I saw him instantly, what he did to Emerson's face, and I said in the group chat initially he might get sent off straight away here. Now, initially, it looked more like a slapping movement than it did a shove. So that's why initially my reaction was worse than after I'd seen a few replays. I think a yellow card is probably fair because it was more of a push that accidentally touched the guy in the face rather than anything else. And Romero is just a little pussy, just like it was at the beginning when Thiago Silva touched him on the chin and he was rolling around. By the way, quickly, the first thing rule makers need to change in football is the head injury rule. Every head injury must be treated off the pitch. Because the amount of fake head injuries you get, and the referees, of course, by the law, have to stop play for a potential head injury, because obviously they're also concerned about concussions now. Every head injury must be treated off the pitch because you would instantly stop the fake injuries. Because if they all had to come off the pitch before coming back on, none of them would do it. So that's the first thing we need to change, because what Romero was doing there, how he stopped our attack just because he was lying on the floor for nothing, is disgraceful. But it's not just this game. This happens every single game everyone plays. It's just disgraceful. We need to change that instantly. But back to Hakim Ziyech. I mean, the stats probably don't show it quite like that, but watching it genuinely felt like every time he touched the ball, he lost it. Every single time. I mean, accurate pass, he has 15 out of 19, which is not as bad as it sounds, if I'm honest. Doesn't sound as bad as it felt to me. He had 31 touches. Not great, that, is it? I mean, if we criticize Ruben for it, we have to criticize Ziyech for it. He was basically playing right wing back as well. He wasn't even high up the pitch, so he could receive the ball. Accurate crosses, 0 out of 1. That's why someone said we were just hoping for Ziyech to cross the ball. He tried one, so I'm not quite sure with that one. He only tried one tackle. You were playing right back, and you attempted one tackle, essentially playing right back, especially the longer the game went on and the less control we had. Ground duels, 2 out of 7. What are you doing, man? Come on. It's just, especially when Madueke proved last week, the one thing he did do well last week and proved and did okay, is that he's somewhat physically strong and can, hold his own in a physical duel. And that's the last thing Hakim Ziyech do. Hakim Ziyech has a wonder of a left foot, but when the attack is so incapable and so structureless, that who's even Hakim Ziyech going to pass the ball to with his wonder of a left foot? So playing him when the attack is like it is right now, I just don't think there's any benefit to that. And the one shot he had, my God, how far over do you want to put it, man? I would genuinely stick with Pice 0. Maybe it's a bit harsh, judging by the stats, but it genuinely felt to me like he lost the ball every time he touched it. That's what it felt like to me. Clutch, what would you give Hakim Ziyech?
A 0. I mean, I know you said that the red card incident wasn't that bad, or it was different when you first seen it. The fact is, you can't do that regardless. On a bad day, on a really unlucky day, he gets sent off.
Yeah.
You can't rely on a referee to always make the right call, because on a bad day, he gets a red card, and that's how it is. And then we're down to 10 men, and we don't even have a chance after that. So I'd agree with the 0.
Fair enough. It was a big mess because initially, let's talk about this for a second as well. Kai Havertz got booked. Kai Havertz wasn't even involved in any of this.
No, he was.
Was he? What did he do?
When Richarlison went by the first player, that was Kai Havertz, and he tried to put studs down the back of his leg.
Maybe he
reached out,
tried, but
and that's why he was yellow. He was cautioned because he tried to injure a player.
Nah,
so
I think
I'm not saying it was right or not, but that's why he got the yellow card.
No, I'm not sure. I think the ref might have mistook who was involved because he didn't book Ziyech initially. I think
Ziyech
thought
wasn't a foul
and realized it was Ziyech because he didn't book Ziyech initially until the VAR told him it's a red card. Then he gives him a red card. And then VAR seemed to have realized
that's not what happened.
Not actually. Then we go to the gone.
That's not what happened.
Why not?
He was giving out yellow cards.
Yeah.
And he was waiting to see. Remember, he didn't even approach Ziyech about any card. So he gave out the cards and he gave the red card because he was waiting for VAR to say something. Okay. And they weren't going to say anything until he showed a card.
That's possible. That's possible.
So he shows the red card, and then VAR goes, well, you might want to check on this because initially he pushed the guy in the shoulder and his hand slipped off and hit him in the face. So he wasn't trying to punch somebody in the face. So that's the sequence that I saw.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That maybe he was waiting for info.
But the
ref had at that point, I guess maybe he was told we're checking something on Ziyech, and that's why he didn't do anything. Fair enough. But yeah, regardless, seemingly to me, still shocking that he gives him a red card and then goes to the monitor because did VAR send him to the monitor after he gave him the red card already?
Yes. But
that's not how VAR. That's
but VAR
protocol.
No, that is VAR protocol.
No,
they didn't tell it. Yes, it is.
No,
when a red card is given, it is always reviewed.
Yeah, no, of course. But the referee didn't give the red card.
Yes, he did.
No, I'm pretty
that
sure
was a ref.
The referee was looking the wrong way. He couldn't have seen it. So, it must have been VAR telling him needs to be a red card. No,
it could have been one of his assistants.
That could be. But
so
still, why wait that long then, right? Because you just said as well he was waiting for VAR with Ziyech, but he still gave him the red and then went to check on the monitor.
Right. Well, VAR was not going to recommend a red. That's what he was waiting on. Is there a recommendation for a red? Yeah. And there was none. He talked to his linesmen, and one of them said, "There's a red." He hit him in the face. And once he produced the red, then VAR chimed in and said, "You need to look at this because his intent wasn't to punch somebody." Yeah, that's the sequence of what happened.
That may be the case. Would somebody explain what happened there? That might have been fair. But regardless, it was weird anyway. First pour, a minute, nothing, give him a red, run to the monitor, take the red back.
It was correct call, though, in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was the right call. Absolutely. But yeah, I asked Clutch. Let me go to BJ first, and then I'll go to Jester. I think you're probably going to go a bit higher than we are, but we'll see. BJ, 2 zeros, 3 zeros. Do you think we're too harsh?
Yeah, a bit too harsh, to be honest. I still think it needs to be an on-call, on-field decision before any red card. So, before any VAR check. So that's the reason why he gave a red card. But that's whole a different, conversation. But with Hakim Ziyech's performance, by now even a kid who comes to Stamford Bridge or who watches any Chelsea game knows not to start Hakim Ziyech in this kind of a lineup. When you play Tottenham, he especially last time against Tottenham he got a very good free kick and all that. So maybe that was a reason. But Hakim Ziyech is not in the best of his form. He's not in the plan, and you made a blunder when it comes to the negotiations in the winter transfer window. So he isn't happy to be here either. Considering all these circumstances, would you really want to start him if he's not going to be in your plan in the next year? I don't get that. So, but Hakim Ziyech's performance, he's got potential, but for me, he is not a Premier League player. Maybe any other league he could do a lot better, but with his physical ability, Premier League is not his ball. I probably want him to go out this season, fetch Chelsea some money. But for me, it's a 1, not a 0. 1.
Fair enough. Jester, then. Are you going to have a similar approach with Felix, where you're like, well, what can they do?
No.
Okay.
This dude is cancer. He gets a negative pi r squared.
Pi r squared? Right,
negative pi r squared.
The whole circle, bro.
Because he's at the radius of the 0. He's not even a 0. He's a radius of 0.
I like it. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, keep it short and simple. I would like to get this done anyway because I have somewhere to be after. But regardless, Kai Havertz, then, you know what, Jess, I'll let you go first on this one. It's another 0 over radius, or will he get the little benefit of the doubt where you're like, well, what can he do?
I didn't think he was bad. Didn't think he was good. But he wasn't bad. So for me, I again, he was below average. But so was the rest of the team. So for me, I'd go 5 for Havertz.
Okay.
Below
he,
average.
again, created the most chances in the match, as he seems to do every game. Pass completion of 93%, 27 out of 29. How can you have created the most chances and have an expected assist of 0.02? I'm not sure if I trust these stats here. Successful dribbles, 1 out of 3. Accurate crosses, 0 out of 1. Can't remember him crossing, to be honest. Tackles, 1.
Hey,
1 out of 1.
hold on. You got to throw somebody out. This the guy music. You gotta chunk this dude.
Oh yeah.
For what he just said.
No, you can't just do reverse racism music. Like, come on now. What is that? Not quite how it goes. Please don't accuse us of racism. That would be very much appreciated. But yeah, back to Kai Havertz's stats. Ground duels, 2 out of 5. Not great. Aerial duels, 2 out of 4. Acceptable, I guess. I'm probably not going to go quite as high as you did. Just I'm going to say 4. I still think today was a case of we didn't even get the ball to the front 3, like to the 3 behind the striker, let alone the striker. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, people will say I have an agenda because I love Kai Havertz. Sure, say what you want. I don't really care. BJ, I'll let you go. 4 and a 5 for Kai Havertz and a 0 from Pice, obviously. But you're going to give Kai.
Again, given that he's been with Chelsea for a long time, I'd expect him to gel along better with the team and then start scoring goals with the potential that he had with Roman spending so much cash on him. And we all know what kind of a talent he was coming in to the Premier League. He's not lived up to his ability. 4 is all right, given that he was probably the second best in our attack today after Raheem Sterling. But he needs to finish some chances. He needs to start anticipating certain deliveries from our midfielder. I think one from Mount where the back heel was. I know it was a difficult one to reach, but then
he tried to square instead of shoot. I agree with that. Actually.
Yeah.
Why did there was no one there to square it to? Who was he trying to square it to? There was no one there.
He was trying to actually square it, but then Mount kind of missed it. So the ball, instead of coming to Havertz's feet, went straight to the goalkeeper, but Havertz could have been a bit quicker there.
Okay, then we're not talking about the same moment, regardless.
Yeah, so it's all about anticipation for me as a striker. You need to know where to position yourself in the box, which I think he's lacking a bit right now, and he's been doing that for some time. So Kai Havertz for me needs to improve. Otherwise, there are players that we can replace him with, and we might see him go out of the team as well in the coming days. So 4 for me.
Okay, and Clutch, finish it off for Kai Havertz. What would you give him?
A 4. I don't think we're gonna see him come. I don't think we're gonna see him come out of the team anytime soon. But
you're not gonna see who? You're not gonna see who anytime soon?
Kai come out of the team anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know Kai
he played 90 minutes today and probably should have been off. And we put him and Aubameyang together.
We really have to do the substitutes.
No, I'm just gonna write them down. But not really. Like, what can I give Mount? What can I give Zakaria? Let's just put them up on screen. Let's finish it off with Graham Potter, and then we're done with it. Graham Potter, I mean, we're probably all going to give him a 0 really today, but I want to bring up quickly one other comment from him from the press conference because the guy's really not helping himself. So first he talks about Arteta, and then he talks, if you look at Jurgen's situation at Liverpool, they haven't got the results, and all of a sudden people want him out. It's just the nature of football. No, you can't compare yourself to Jurgen Klopp, man. The guy won 2 Bundesligas, the first one to break and the last one to break the Bayern dominance. Won the Champions League with Liverpool, made it to 3 Champions League finals. and won the Premier League. I know he won the Premier League behind closed doors and lost the Premier League to Man City by a point and still had over 100 points. Didn't win the league with 100 points. Or was it 99 that they had? Whatever it is. But my God, that is a disgrace for you. Like
That's like saying I don't get dates, but I look like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not Brad Pitt.
Jennifer Aniston broke up with Brad Pitt. I can't ever go. My wife for breaking up with me. I'm like, what? What's that got to do with anything? My God.
This guy has lost the plot.
He seriously has lost the plot.
Can we give him an Expelliarmus?
Maybe not, but I look for a fun emoji to give him.
He needs Expelliarmus.
Yeah.
Expelliarmus. I don't want to bring out my nerd, but I'll let you have it.
Is it wrong? I mean,
yes, it's wrong.
Okay, well, give us.
That's like if you had a gun, you just take his gun out of his hand.
No, you expel him.
But that's not what that means. It doesn't matter. It's a nerd thing. Don't worry about it.
No? Expelliarmus is the disarming charm, no?
You can disarm Chelsea of Potter. How about that?
Okay, then how do you knock somebody?
Well, they have the killing curse. You could do that.
No, let's not do that. Okay, let's not advocate killing. Clutch, I know you're
I thought that when they do it, they did that and knock somebody down.
There's a vanishing curse. You can just disappear.
I think I'm correct though. We're gonna have to look it up.
I'm just going to give him a poo emoji. Is everyone okay with that?
He's in Lukaku territory now. We love that.
He seriously is. Like, that today was a bit of a joke. I missed the super chat again. I didn't. Oh, I did. I wanted to get back to it. Sorry, no one. Before I let everyone have their last little bit of a rant about no one. What's happening here? All right. He said earlier, my apologies, no one. You sent that a while ago and I wanted to bring it up and I forgot again. I wanted to bring that up before we got to Reece James, I think. My bad. I really apologize. He said sacking Tuchel after giving him a window, not appointing a director of football before appointing a coach, overpaying for players, giving Potter a big contract. How can we expect Bowley making right decisions of sacking Potter now?
This is poor. Thanks for the super chat, but this is poor.
In what way do you think it's poor?
The whole statement, because it's a statement from ignorance. This is, the reason we didn't appoint a director of football because he's not available. They're waiting on the person they want. The director of football has nothing to do with appointing a coach in this context because there wasn't one here. You can't just say, well, let's just appoint some. Oh, good. I'm locked up again.
You locked up again?
Well, my video is at least. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe turn the camera off for a second, turn it back on. Maybe it works.
Well, it's not like you need to see my face anyway.
No. You said it.
But you cannot sit there and go, well, we sacked Tuchel. That's bad. Tuchel sacked himself, and we need to get over this. Tuchel did things that if any employee does, you're going to fire him. I don't care what business. You fire him for what he did. He was fired for cause. We put a structure together quicker than we had to because of what happened in the summer. So
true.
You all need to understand that.
I agree with you. I agree with you in terms of that Tuchel did things that essentially sacked himself. At the same time, I'm like, the way it's a difficult comparison to any business. While you're right, if you do those things in any business, you will be in trouble. The problem is football works a little bit differently to most businesses in the sense of that the manager is in charge of everything that happens on the pitch. And if you then don't have people that are experts in football, even though, like we said earlier, the whole football world agreed that Potter is a great manager and a lot of people would have gone for Graham Potter at some point. It's still just it's bad timing. But until we know the exact details, I don't think we should go either way. We shouldn't fully say Tuchel completely sacked himself, and we shouldn't fully go on, Bowley's such a fucking idiot for sacking Tuchel. Until if we ever find out all the details, it's a tough one. I do agree in a sense of giving Potter the long contract was maybe not the best idea, but I don't think you can say he made no right decisions. I think we signed some very, very talented players, which are great players. The only thing you could maybe argue is that we're not in a position where you should only sign young players. Now, that's our plan. That's how we want to go about things, which is fair enough. But when you're 10th or whatever position we were when we signed all these players, which I still think was 10th, then the problem you have with that is younger players are going to not be able to take as much responsibility as quickly and try to help you turn things around when the manager himself seems to be incapable of it. So now it's just a question of, will Bowley realize that it happens? Everyone makes mistakes. I'm sure he didn't become a billionaire by never making a mistake. So will his ego be big enough to not sack Potter? Or will he just see, okay, this might have been a good idea, but didn't work out. So we need to do something different. That's what I hope he does. But am I confident that he will? In all honesty, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Clutch, any last words in terms of Graham Potter? Like, it's just, it has to be the end now, surely. Like, surely we can't, like I said earlier, we can't wait for Dortmund, because if we then get knocked out by Dortmund, it's done. Like, then you seriously don't need to appoint a new manager anymore, because the season is so done that you might as well see if a preseason helps Potter, right? But before Dortmund, there is still something to be achieved by sacking Potter. But if you wait until after, there's no point anymore. So to me, it's now or never. Or not never, but now or after the summer.
Yeah, but again, who's out there? And I don't this all stems from me saying that I'm not saying don't sack Potter because whatever. Like, sack him. But if you do, you have to get an interim. Because I'm not giving Enrique a window. I'm just not. I'm not giving Pochettino a window. Just not. I don't want them to be having that excuse of, oh, here's my window, here's my team. It's like, no, don't do that. But I do think Potter probably needs to go. Probably the best. As for the people complaining about Todd Bowley, well, he owns the club legally until 2032. So there's no point in complaining about somebody who's not going away for another 10 years. That was something Roman put in a contract for him to buy the team. So there's no point in doing that. As for Tuchel, like I said yesterday, him saying what he said after Arsenal, that was the counter was down. After that, he was going to be fired at some point. But again, it's not working with Potter, so it's probably best just to move on with him.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. No option, even if you think Flick is available, like Jester does. I don't think Flick is the solution by any means. The guy handed in his resignation at Bayern in 18 months. Within 2 months at Chelsea, he will not be able to hack it anymore, because if you can't hack it at Bayern, no, good luck at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's because he wanted the Germany job instead, which shows you he wants Germany more than he wanted Bayern Munich.
He resigned before Löw retired.
Yeah, but they knew Löw was going to retire. He knew it. It was known for 6 months beforehand.
When did was it before? Was the Euros was the first tournament Flick did, right?
Yep.
So he was shit in 2 tournaments. So even more of a point against Flick, I will say. But regardless, but no one can be worse than Potter at this point. And I don't want to get it. He won the sextuple. Yes, he did. 4 of those are guaranteed trophies for Bayern Munich. The only good achievement of that is the Champions League. Nothing else is an achievement for a Bayern Munich manager. Let's not lie to ourselves.
It's an
because then you get to the Club World Cup. Okay, we won the Club World Cup. Everyone from Europe wins the Club World Cup except Chelsea in 2012. Sorry, that is not an achievement, right? The German Super Cup, German Cup, and the German Bundesliga, they are not special trophies. And okay, the Super Cup, the European Super Cup against the Europa League winner, sure, okay, fair enough. But it's a one-off game. It's not like, this is why people kept going, oh, but Tuchel won us all these many trophies last year. He played 3 games to win us those trophies.
I just want to bring up one more name. Your countryman, Oliver Glasner.
Yeah. I said this on stream the other day. My problem is I see Austrians as we're not good at football, so surely an Austrian can't be a good manager.
Well, he consistently gets his players playing above their talent level.
He does. But so did Potter until now. So
no, really, I don't think he ever did.
Nah, come on. He did good things with Östersund, Brighton, and Swansea.
Okay, but I'm talking about for Chelsea.
No, absolutely.
I don't care what he did someplace else.
We all agree with that by now. But, Glasner hasn't been here either, has he? But yeah, he does have the reputation to be a bit of a twat. here.
Good.
Well, yeah, but not necessarily in a positive way. More like to just everyone, rather than like when necessary. But he's done good things with Frankfurt, so I don't know.
He won Europa.
He won Europa, yeah, and it's not with someone like Frankfurt. That is a big job. That is a big job. But yeah, all right. VJ, anything last you would like to say about Graham Potter before we finish this off?
Yeah, Potter out as quick as possible.
There you go. I can agree.
And, yeah, and we get someone in. I don't care who it is right now. I just want our team to look different, play different, and for them to recollect, the players to recollect who really they are, instead of just playing the way that Potter has asked them to do. A few of them still carrying the Tuchel style of play, and trying to incorporate that into their game. So it's a bit all over the place from the last two managers. The next one who's coming in, maybe he wants to completely revamp the side. He wants to do something, not in terms of changing the players and stuff, but then can work with our players, can get a new formation going. Maybe someone from a different league altogether, instead of the same 5 or 6 managers that we have at top level in the English Premier League. Someone else coming from a different league. I don't want to name any one particular, but hopefully new names to come up. But Potter needs to be sacked. That's something that I'm very sure of right now.
I agree, and I know I was very defensive for it for a long time, but certain limits, certain lines, when they're crossed, there's no way back, in my opinion. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for watching. There's still over 300 of you here. We had over 1,000 earlier, so hey, if you're still here and you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Hit the like button on your way out. That'd be fantastic. Please check out all my wonderful guests. Pice, of course, who was on earlier. His website, chelseafc365.com. Follow Jester on Twitter. Follow his YouTube. The link is down in the description as well. Please check out Clutch on Twitter. And, of course, VJ. I'm not sure if VJ uses his YouTube channel much anymore, so I've only linked his Twitter. But follow him on Twitter. And if he does use his YouTube, you will find the link on his Twitter as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, Appleton onwards. Appreciate you all. Let's hope Potter gets sacked. But who knows? And we'll see you next time.